All right. Welcome to the Mist, where a bunch of us nerdy folk get together to play D&D. So glad you're joining us tonight. If this is your first time watching the Mist, welcome. Please follow Games Tavern on Twitch. It's free and supports the show and the cast and the crew. Remember, you can watch us live on Twitch, and all shows are uploaded to YouTube about 48 hours later, so you can catch up on all the shows that you may have missed. We're going to get rolling shortly, but first, some announcements.
Hey friends, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you also get a free Prime gaming subscription, and you can actually use that right here, right now to show your support for the crew and cast. Prime gaming subscriptors, oh my God, words, subscribers.
Who needs them?
Got to get those out of the way right now. Prime Gaming subscribers get access to sub-only emotes and to a special subscriber-only channel on the Games Tavern Discord.
Also, tonight, make sure to cheer on your favorite character when they do something awesome. Your bits and cheers show your support for the characters, and we love you, our friends, for your support. Your subs help to support the Games Tavern production quality upgrades and help pay the cast so that we can make better shows for you.
Hey, a colossal thank you to Overhead Games for sponsoring our show tonight. Go to overheadgames.com. There you'll find some of the great support for your game. And of course, join us right here for some great prizes from them this month. They're the creative team behind Epic Character Generator, an excellent tool for anyone who wants to create a realistic character avatar in no time. Simply choose what items you want to display with your character, save an image on a preset or transparent background, and use it in whatever way pleases you. Check them out over at overheadgames.com.
And speaking of that Epic Character Generator, that is what we are giving away tonight. The raffle for an Epic Character Generator from Overhead Games will start shortly, and we'll keep taking entries until the end of the stream, which is when we'll pick a winner. We'll give you details on how to enter that when we hit the break. You have to be a follower to enter. And you also have to be here for the staff to contact you and present the prize to you. So stick around.
All right. I think with that, do a little bit of a recap. I almost want to make Matt do it. He did such a wonderful job today on Twitter. Would you like to do a recap, or shall I?
I can do a recap. Let's see.
I'm not going to force you, but you did such a great job earlier.
Right, but now I'm like, what did I write?
I did throw you on the spot there.
I typed it all in a huff. Okay, so last time on the Mists, we basically finally got some rest as the weary travelers found respite in a small town called Starfall. They were able to find rooms at the inn. The local innkeeper was very kind, and his wife, and they finally got to sleep after late night partying with them doing a celebration of some sort. We're still unclear about that. It's supposed to be just for, happiness, but I'm pretty sure there's more to it. We'll find out. Anyways, so Kira got up, having realized that they've slept in a little longer than they should have, and they basically had her and the doctor had an inner exchange where the doctor asked for a sample of her hair. When she asked him why, it was for medical purposes. We'll throw air quotes around that.
Mm-hmm.
But he seemed genuine. So she said she would give it some consideration. Meanwhile, Brigane and Bronlin were having an interesting exchange of their own over some solo chicken. Brigane is very particular about his chicken, and the fact that Bronlin came down and helped himself to just a little bit of that chicken, Brigane was just about to maybe throw his axe at them, and well, he was able to restrain himself. Salem wanted to get started along with the old turnip farmer. But first, Brigane had set a nice spread of food out. So they were all stuffing pockets with pocket bacon, a traveler essential. And then the doctor came down and asked for Brigane's weapon, his glaive, and took it upstairs after some struggle, but with some help from Kira, to enhance it with some of his now regained ability to perform alchemy, and presented it to Brigane as sort of a thank you for helping me get out of that awkward position where I was naked in the forest. So
We've all been there.
right. Yeah. So then they all set out on their trip to take the turnip farmer back to his turnip farm. And they passed some pig people eating turnips. And after a flubbed roll, the doctor got a little too close with his investigation, checking out these pig people, taking notes. Bronlin, who had not really worked with other people before in a capacity of a group, did not understand Salem's hand signals. So they wanted to go on and continue talking. Brigane subdued them with brute force and hand muffling. So I'm sure there was a little bit of strife over the solo chicken, but I'm not sure. They were able to get away from the pig people without any sort of conflict. When they arrived at the turnip farm, they were getting paid in turnips, but they were ready for any sort of thing to pop out of the farmer's house, or maybe the farmer to turn on them and try and eat them. They weren't too sure. But what popped out of the mist was a shadowy figure on a carriage who had been observing them and their good deeds for some turnips. Turns out this gentleman is called the Poisoner. Guess what he does? He poisons. So he wanted to give them the first sample free of some poison. Not real clear on I'm going to poison you and you're going to pay me for it, but I'm sure it's drugs. It's drugs. The doctor was having none of that, sensing that this was a snake oil salesman, tonic peddler, and basically called him out on it several times. But what the group was really interested in was the fact that this gentleman could come and go in the mist as he pleased, it seemingly. So they struck up a deal to find out if they could acquire one of these tokens that he was using to travel through the mists and the way he does it. And for that service, they need to either A, get a dark vial of black liquid from the town of Starfall, or B, get some slime off the giant undead eating frog in the forest nearby.
Nope.
The party is choosing A, but there's going to be something more to that. But we'll find out what they find out. So the party has chosen to go back to Starfall and inquire about these dark vials and see what this might be before just snatching one.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
That was very thorough. All right. As stated, the party has made their way back towards Starfall. Through the forest that they took to get to the turnip farm, encountering just in the distance some more of these porcine, these pig-like creatures. The party's done well to just toss turnips their way to assure their safety and travel without much conflict.
I told you the turnips were going to come in handy, Bronlin. You doubted me.
Right, I'm sorry.
Are you sticking to your original plan to go straight back towards the village?
Nobody has said otherwise, so I'm making my way back towards the village.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the consensus.
I'm not fighting a frog.
It is not a difficult trek to get back. You already made your way once, and getting much more of a feel for the land. You make it back in significantly shorter time. Also, without having to usher a very elderly farmer the way back. It's almost twice as quick to get back to the town of Starfall.
No, Regain, I'm thinking it might have just been quicker for us to just, I don't know, have you pick him up and for him to have directed us on our way over here in the first place. Carry the old codger, you know what I mean?
Why didn't you say that in the first place?
Note
I
for
was
next
trying to get
time.
information. I was trying to get information. I'm sorry.
Well, next time, think about it. Just asking you to use your brain, man. Come on. I can't do all the. I can't do all the thinking. I can't do all the thinking. Eddie gestures at the turnip's head again.
Right. Keep using those brain cells. They're mighty powerful. And
Okay,
keeps on walking.
Right, friends. So what exactly is our plan going to be? Are we just gonna waltz right in and ask if we can have some of it?
I think the best form of action would probably be to inquire what that armored gentleman was picking up the day we arrived, and see if we can't casually is that's something you do when you talk to regular folk, right?
Yes, Doctor. Continue.
You casually inquire what he might have been procuring.
It seems an awfully specific thing to be casual about.
Right now, maybe the move is we have suspicions about that character, and we start with the suspicions and then get down to what they were picking up.
Possibly.
Could work.
Possibly. Another possible motive, too, is that they seem to have a fairly amicable relationship. Possibly seeing what we can do to help the town for its generous hosting of us. See what that exchange of business might have been about. That might lead us to uncover certain additional answers. That way, it'd have a little more insight.
It's worth a try.
So, sorry, Kieran, go ahead.
As we're going along, I do come up beside the doctor. And there's the little matter of what I was handed by the poisoner. And I will hand it over to the doctor.
The
Sure.
doctor I'll hold out my hand and take it back, or take it and look at it. What was it again?
Kura passes a much more intricate, as far as design and shape, bottle of what you presume to be poison, than the other one that you have pocketed from the poisoner.
Okay.
This one is a much more diamond shaped and has a vibrant glow in the liquid inside the vial.
Is there a stopper, like a normal stopper, or is it?
There is.
Okay.
It's just right at the tip. It's just a very thin stopper.
Well, unfortunately, I can't analyze it at the moment. But when we get back to the inn, I'll take a look at it. Do you want me to hold on to it?
Yes, I am not comfortable with it.
That's fine. I slide it into my bandolier of chemicals. What was it he said to you? Did he say something? Do you remember?
He said he gave it to me because I would be least likely to use it.
That's right. It was to take a life, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Well, it could be almost anything. There's many things that could take a life that is an alchemical concoction. Well, I'm just going to have to take a look at it.
I would appreciate it.
Excellent.
If there are no other strays from the path, you easily make your way back to the town of Starfall. As you return, the town is very much how you left it. You step through the gates, and there's just you just feel this flush over your body of ease, of comfort. You feel safer now that you've passed this wooden wall that, in all honesty, probably would protect from nothing that you've witnessed out here. But sure enough, there's a sense of comfort as you walk through.
So, who is going to talk to who?
As soon as Brigane says that, I put my finger on my nose and I just kind of look around.
I mean, I could talk to them, but the type of talking I usually do does not end well for the other person.
I look at Salem.
I follow
Well.
Kira's gaze to Salem and I nod.
All right. Yeah.
Tell them there's a spider on you.
What? What? Where? Anyway. Fine. I suggest we have a two-pronged approach on this. How about I go into the tavern alone? I'll inquire about the transaction that occurred. If you wish to enter after me to separately inquire or see if there's someone else around town that might have some sort of inkling as to what's going on, that may be another avenue to pursue.
That's certainly a good idea to maybe get the feelers out and see what some of these other people might think.
Doctor, if I may, and I'll grab you by the crook of your arm. Why don't you come with me? Maybe a good opportunity to learn a little bit about dealings with other people, but also I would like someone who's more versed in strange liquids with me, so that way you may more readily examine it while you are examining the other vials that we acquired from the poisoner.
That's certainly fair.
And I will just drag him by his elbow.
Oh,
towards
no
the
need to
tavern.
drag. I'm coming.
Which direction are the two of you heading?
Towards the end.
Towards the end.
The two of you are going back towards the end?
Yes.
All right.
What
And-
time is it? What time about is it?
Again, you have no frame of reference.
It's
Just
Twilight,
about-
baby.
Just about from like when we started to now, how
Probably 4 or 5 hours.
okay, I just wanted to know if there was enough that we'd be like, oh, we're tired, or
No,
just
you're
like,
not.
no,
You're
we
not
should-
exhausted. You're not exhausted. The weight of a day has not fallen
Okay.
upon you.
That's all I wanted to know. Cool.
So am I the good watch and you're the bad watch, or am I the bad watch and you're the good watch?
For now, you're the silent watch.
All right.
You're going
First,
to...
I can be
observe.
terse.
Yes. You're going to observe. If there's something that you see untoward, something dangerous that I don't pick up on, then feel free. For the moment, though, I think we should work on your people skills.
Yeah,
Sound good?
yeah. I can stand to learn some. It's been a while since I've
And a
peopled.
mighty fine gentleman as yourself, I'd imagine you'll pick up right quick. So let's get this knocked out.
All right. I'll take as you lead.
Open the door.
right.
And
So as Salem and the doctor take a beeline back towards the inn, for the rest of you, where do you find yourselves?
Well, I gestured to Brigane and Bronlin, and I say, what do you think about maybe looking around a little bit while they do what they do?
Okay.
Right.
All right,
Just, see what there is to see.
You make your way further into town,
Yes.
and on first glance, there's nothing particularly uncommon, as you would expect in town, outside of such a dangerous area. But you see various people in their day-to-day activities. You see several children, playing and running across the roads. You see, people at work.
Is anyone watching us in particular, or are they just ignoring us?
There's definitely some stops and glances your direction.
I know I carve a figure.
You
but
definitely stand out in a crowd.
Nothing more than what I'm used to.
No, it is as you would expect. Maybe a couple of the people on the way there stop and glance over your direction. Maybe a whisper or two. Maybe a child stopping your direction. Just in awe of your size.
I flex my pecs
nothing.
for the kid.
As you've come to expect in your travels, nothing bizarre or strange about this. You're used to this sort of attention.
Whenever a child stops at me, I say, eat your vegetables and eat a lot of chicken and never let anybody take your chicken from you. And then I just kind of point at Bronlin when they're not paying attention, especially them.
A small tiefling child nods almost knowingly.
I give him a wink.
For the first time since coming here, I laugh a little bit.
Go ahead.
Are there any people that look important? Maybe like they're wearing uniforms, whether it's a city watch or a town's mayor or
There
anything?
isn't. That if anything was peculiar about this area, it's that fact. There does not seem to be anyone in charge or like keeping order or any of that sort of authority figure in this area. They're just non-existent here.
Would
You
it's-
two,
Actually, no, Brigade wouldn't be smart enough to think about that. He wouldn't care.
I kind of lean closer and give like a come here, and I say, right, I think maybe we should just find the nearest adult and ask him a few questions.
Like what?
Like, tell us about the town. Is there anything strange that happens? Do we saw a strange character getting some strange liquid?
Is there anyone in particular that we saw from like the brief party we had the other night that would stand out to us?
No one that cast a strong presence. They seem like simple people. You see people, at the wash. You can see in just the distance someone tending a farm, that area. no one stands out strong, but none of them particularly are dodging or hiding your glances.
Is there anyone around who is doing something that they seem like they might need help with?
You can certainly check. There are people with, their carts and, setting things up, but no one seems to be struggling difficultly.
I don't want to impose if there's no help needed. Just looking for an inn.
Brigade, growing bored, just kind of walks up to anyone. Hello. So the other day there was a guy wearing all types of armor. Do you know anything about that, or is that totally weird?
You approach someone who's currently working a loom. You can see just the threads and fabrics just weaving together as you approach and question. And the small man looks up your direction. You'll have to be a bit more specific. Strange. I mean, you were here recently. You're a bit strange.
No, I'm Brigade. The other day at the Sanctuary Inn, there was a man clad in armor, and he looks very different compared to the rest of you. No, you are all working folk. He seemed to be a warrior of some type, and he sort of stood out. And I was just wondering if you had noticed him before, if you knew who he was or anything like that. Just wondering, just curiosity for a strange man in a strange place.
Armor. Most of our people don't wear. We have little need for armor or adventure or anything in that terrifying direction. What was it? What was it you were seeking from them? Perhaps I can help.
Just perhaps a conversation about the things that brought them to this town. The thing that brought us here is that it was the first town we came to, but we are strangers in this land, so this is the only place we really know. He seems an adventurer. Perhaps he knows other places that could use adventurers.
You're quite fortunate to find this town of any. I have to assume there's a good reason you found us here. It's safe and comfortable here. There's very little reason to leave here and to seek adventure. I can't imagine why this person would, but certainly doesn't mean that you have to.
Am I smart enough to do an insight check? Yeah, I'm going to insight check.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Insight check, yes. It's other things that I'm not smart enough for.
Do it.
Woo! 21.
21. You have full faith in this person. You believe that they have seen just enough of the outside of this town to want nothing to do with it. You believe that they have found a comfort and a safety here that they would not trade for anything. So, yeah, you believe that look in the eyes.
It's a fellow indoor kid.
It's an indoor kid.
Yeah.
This is not a...
The indoor kid is just like, why would you want to go outside? I have my books and my laptops.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, babe. And I give him 2 copper for his time.
Not a turnip?
As you offer the copper, his small hands gently kind of try to close up around yours to tell you to keep your money.
Okay. Would you like it? Would you like a turnip?
It is most kind, but I have everything I need right here.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
No,
if there's anything I can do for you or make for you, please come back.
Oh, what type of things do you make?
Oh, well, I don't mean to brag. He motions over to some lovely weaved shawls and, sort of cloaks, maybe some very simple banners. They're
Right.
they're fine quality, but they're simple enough.
Have you happened to sell any cloaks to any newcomers lately?
No newcomers. You're the most that I've seen of outsiders in some time.
Right. Well,
Are you sure? If there's nothing particular I can help you find?
I kind of glance over to Kira to see what she has to say.
Mm. I think probably what we're seeking is something you ought not trouble yourself with, friend. But I will say, what you make is lovely, and I am wondering how much one of those shawls are.
Which one catches your eye? You see, about 4 or 5 hanging in various shades.
Is there a one that's like a dark blue?
I'll say there's a nice indigo color one waiting.
That one.
Oh, yes. He reaches up and pulls it off a bar and hands it over to you for inspection. Lovely dye, that one. It's a local dye. Right here.
It's lovely, and it happens to be my favorite color.
How
much?
does one silver sound?
Perfectly reasonable.
Mm.
And I will give him a silver.
May it keep you warm on the coldest of nights.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
And you do the same. If there's anything, and he motions to the rest of the lot, anything I can do for you, please don't be afraid to ask.
What is your name?
Old Stigid. Despite him not being old at all, he's planning for this sort of title.
I imagine there's just a list of random names you have there, Brad.
You would think so.
He's actually 23, but he's
only 23.
Practicing the old man.
If you've ever worked a loom, it ages you.
It
hurts the hands.
It's
You get a
23,
nice
but like
gnarl.
it's 23, but like in the 1700s, where 23 was like, oh, you've been married for like 5 years already.
You got a full family already.
Yeah, you've already.
You have grandkids.
It's 23. You could fight in the war.
I take the shawl and I gesture for Brigane and Bronwyn to come away a bit.
I tip my horns at him as I walk away.
He
Thank you.
nods his head happily and opens up this little box at the side and drops that silver coin in there and closes it.
I give the slightest of nods because I'm not bending over anymore.
He nods in welcome and returns back to the loom. You just see this slide of these cotton threads, and he just begins to work again with his weaving. All right, for the doctor in Salem, let's head your direction. You make your way back towards the inn that you were familiar with.
All right. So, begin. We'll approach. I want you to stand there. I want you to observe, not me, but observe them. Anything fishy you might see, just give me a tug at my shirt right here. not the thread up here that's actually made to come undone.
Oh.
Down there. It works on your clothes as well.
Terse. I can be terse.
Terse. Let's see what exactly we can find out about dealings going on around here. Do we see the gentleman who, or it was the gentleman that was doing the trade with the armor-clad person?
Yes, it was. It was the innkeeper proper, and he
Okay.
is there at the counter.
Okay. So approach. Well, good day.
He instantly locks glance on both of you. Oh, you've returned. Oh, I am so glad for that. Oh, where? Oh, are your friends? Are they okay?
Oh, they're just fine. They're sampling the rest of the town.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Well, come on in. What can I get for you boys?
Well, you seem such a hospitable man.
It is part of the job.
Of course, by trade.
Mm.
We decided that, see, my friend and I here, we're bounty hunters, and we just had to give some sort of token of our appreciation. We saw that the gentleman clad in armor, that he had some sort of business with you. Figured there may have been some sort of bounty. If there was one to collect on that, might be interested in helping you out there as well.
Well, they are a bit of a traveler, let me tell you.
Do tell.
I'll be honest with you. I really don't know what's behind that armor. And if you ever hear the voice, it's pretty hard to tell. I don't know, but let me tell you, they can find things for you. Did you need something?
Well, see, that's the thing. It's more about how we can help you. I do enjoy the occasional bent ear, but this is more of a wandering professional courtesy, if you will.
Mm.
In this regard, what was it that was exchanged? Might we be able to procure some? You wouldn't need to pay nearly as much, though there would be certain recompense. Just in general curiosity.
You're looking for some coins? You're looking for a bit of money?
So, was he the one that gave the innkeeper the dark?
Yes, he is the innkeeper that offered up the dark vials towards the figure in the armor.
Towards the figure in the armor. Okay. Not coin as much. We were wondering actually about that vial that you gave the armor-clad figure. Would that be something that could be considered valuable? Something we could find useful?
Give me a persuasion check.
Persuading? I don't do that very
Persuasion.
well.
I would imagine not.
Oh, don't matter though. That's an 18.
Average.
He glances at the both of you. You were the fact that you've come back here, you've seen a bit of the world out there, yeah?
Oh, plenty, to be assured.
Yeah, it's not great out there. I suspect you'd be wanting to come stay here with us, yeah?
There is a measure of safety to be found here, though I do have my questions as to what the nature of that safety is. Is that what this substance that you are trading provides?
trading makes it sound pretty awful, you know. Sort of an offering of a gift that we are lucky to have to those that could use it outside these gates.
An offering? Of what nature?
Well, as we have it here, it's a source of safety, of what protects us. Outside of here, I don't know. I have to assume that amount of safety carries away from here. Protects those who would travel the roads.
Very interesting. So in this business negotiation, as it were, what would you deem a worthy action for such a gift as that?
You know, as much as I'd like to help you all out, I don't have anything to give you. But that's not to stop you. We here in Starfall freely give, if you understand. We're not gonna keep you from anything that'll protect you on your way.
Oh, we mightily appreciate it.
You know, if you have, you give. That's a saying that we have here.
Of course. And again, it's more of a what can we do for you? Of course, such a gift as that is
well, you see, that's the thing.
What we need.
You're gonna have to go collect yourself. I'm out of what I had, but you are free to go and collect for yourself. You know.
Collect. Where would
right.
I collect this from? Where would we?
It's not hard to find, my friend. You just keep heading a bit north of the city, and you're gonna find what you need.
Well, I appreciate your candor, sir. Very well. The offer for bounty work stands. I'm sure we'll be returning for another night's stay. And if you think of anything you need, be sure to let us know.
I appreciate that. I can't think of any bounties I would have, but I certainly hope to see both your faces again.
Well, and for the mighty generous nature of your company, we'll be returning very soon. There's still more to do today, though. Doc.
Yeah. Sure, let's go.
So I'll head towards the door with the doc. So, did you want to take a look at the poison and whatnot in your room before we headed to meet the others? Or should we just go collect whatever that is?
Why didn't you ask him what the hell was in the vial? There was too much subtlety.
Doctor? Oh. Because he told us how to get some for ourselves.
Some what? What was it? I want to know.
Well, then it sounds like the only way to find out is to head up north of town.
Or we could just ask him.
He didn't seem like he really wanted to disclose that. It's part of reading a person, Doctor. You don't press on something that makes someone uncomfortable, at least not when you're trying to
I do it all
grease
the
the
time.
palm.
I do it
Yes.
literally all the time.
I understand. It's part of the bedside manner that we're talking about. We want to improve that.
Mm-hmm. I hate subtlety. Yes,
Well.
let's go find this thing that is up north.
It's all right. If it seems like it may be too dangerous for just the two of us, we can reconvene with the others, tell them what we saw, figure out what our plan is from there. Agree?
Yes, I agree.
All right. Then let's head out. And we sprint up towards.
Within a short time, you make your way up towards the rest of the party.
Well, so there seems to be some sort of grim offering that provides the town its protective nature. I could hear the banging and clanging of what was going on last night, though I was not privy to exactly what that was. It doesn't quite seem like that's exactly what's providing the haven that we are experiencing at this moment.
Wait, Salem, did you say an offering?
That's what that's what he said.
I wonder, right, you know, them banging pots and pans, I wonder if the offering is actually a sacrifice that happens very late at night and they bang pots and pans so no one can hear anything.
Or they're
Didn't see anything.
Or they are paying protection money. Yes, I did not see anything.
We were part of it.
Yes.
I'm starting to hate the subtlety in this town. We don't know what the I motioned to the statue in the center of town. We don't know what the hell that is. It's a person who's just supposed to represent happiness.
The doctor points to a large statue in the center of the town, which clearly represents an angelic figure.
Bram? Would I be smart enough to... No, this is a wisdom thing. Never mind. It's not intelligence. Brigade's not that dumb.
I have full faith in Brigade. You don't have to ask if you're smart enough. I'm going to assume
yeah, Brigade's not that dumb. When I say smart enough, it's more so would he care enough? That's basically what I mean. Would he be able to from the read he got off the old man of the young old man
at the loom?
Old Stiggett, yes.
Old Stiggett, yeah.
Has that been like a common thing? It's just like, no, why would you leave? That we haven't been here very long, but has that been like the kind of
that definitely seems to feel. Anyone you've seen here seems to have a generally positive disposition of where they are.
So the vibe
it's not in a bizarre join us sort of way.
That was going to be my next question.
But no, it's not in a. No one's clutching at you trying to put a flower crown on your head. There's none of that.
Okay.
Everyone just seems to be going about their lives fairly pleasantly.
And it's genuinely strange to them why someone would want to leave.
It does seem peculiar.
Like they get that sometimes you have to leave, but it's just like, but why would you?
Yeah,
okay.
That's generally the feel.
Okay. Well, from what I can discern, from what I've read through the people here, they don't like to leave. They don't understand why they would leave or why anyone would like to leave. So if there is some type of offering, it would make more sense to me that they most likely pay for a service that keeps this place safe. And the celebration is maybe just an extension to the god that they worship.
Deity.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fair insight. The innkeeper, he indicated that the substance in that vial, the one the poisoner wanted,
Mhm.
was one we could just go collect ourselves freely,
From where?
just up north of town.
Oh,
Is it the lake that was on fire?
No, that's a little further east of here.
Okay,
No, we're headed north.
you got
Well,
my hopes up.
well, to be fair, directions round here, no sun and stars, hard to read. It's difficult to say. We'll have to get up there to find out, but it's doubtful.
what is it?
And therein lies the problem. That was never really talked about.
All right.
It was danced around and very artfully so. Salem, you did a wonderful job at that, but my God, man. We need it.
Right.
What is it? Now
Well,
we have to go look at the unknown.
if it's an offering, it might. I think Salem might have been wise in not pressing too much, because if people know anything about it but they reveal too much, they could endanger themselves.
Another astute take. The more of what I was trying to get at too is that if we found out, Doctor, you're a man of science, I'm sure upon further examination you could find out exactly what it is. Am I incorrect in that?
No, I could certainly collect it and sample and break it down and see what it's made of. My problem is talks of sacrifice and collecting it ourselves leads to very cultish type talk.
Well, only
you
one
from-
way to find out.
Are you from here?
Me?
Yes.
No.
So are you in the cult?
No, I've
Then
I've
why do
had
you
ex-
Then why
Because
do you
I've-
care?
because I've had experience with cults, and you notice as I'm talking, I'm rubbing my hand, and all the bruising and cuts and scars that Kira had healed me when I arrived in the sad state I had. All the scars had healed and wounds had healed, except one very large scar that pretty much matches both sides of his hand. Looks like something very large went through it, and he's rubbing it. I've had experiences with cults, and they are bad dealings.
Did you have me there before?
Hmm?
Did you have me there?
I did not.
Okay then.
Admire your confidence, Brigade.
Right. So shall we?
Yes, no time like the present.
I do want to point out that because we are having to get it ourselves, we're now probably facing danger just as equal to the other task.
Oh, most certainly. The mysterious nature of what it is that we are collecting was not lost on, I believe, anyone here.
Did you ask how the innkeeper came across the thing that they got?
They collect it freely from wherever it is. It doesn't seem to be too hard to acquire. My plan, before we're meeting up with you all here, was to take the doctor up there and to scout it out, so to speak. See what exactly we would be dealing with. Of course, we can all go now. It doesn't seem any sort of reason for us to split again.
It seems safer. As much as and please don't take offense at this, Doctor and Salem, but I have had to heal you both.
Oh no, and very much appreciative of it. It was more of a we'll stay very, very far away from anything that may have any sharp points or edges that might otherwise cause bodily harm. And if we see anything that might otherwise hurt, we will to turn tail and head back here.
Running away is always a good idea.
Yeah, it's something that I picked up on. Yes. However, I believe we should proceed to whatever this is. Enough beating around the bush.
One request before we go. And I look to the doctor. Can you tell me what that is before we leave?
I haven't had a chance to. I could do a quick assessment if you want to give me 5 minutes or so.
Is that all right with you all?
Yes.
5 minutes couldn't hurt.
Shrug.
I'll kneel down in the dirt and start pulling out some stuff and lighting a candle and sliding in another thing and like pulling out the vial and checking it out. I'll uncork it, sniff it, the wafting.
You want to do it Arcana or Medicine?
I would prefer an Arcana, actually.
Please.
As the doctor is doing this, I put my hand on his shoulder. I cast guidance.
Ooh.
Not that he
Nice.
needs it.
I rolled a 50. I got a dirty 20, so I could, but that gives me advantage, right?
It gives you a d4.
Oh, well, it'll be that plus a d4, which would give me 24.
24. All right.
Knows the exact chemical
As
compound.
Tonight.
Once that flame starts to lick this diamond-shaped glass, it starts to react in strange ways, almost like a living substance. You start to see just small patches of odd coloring kind of slapping against the sides of the glass and sort of moving around with the flame before sort of melting back into the greater essence of the liquid in the bottle. I'm gonna say, from your examination, you are positive there's something not of this realm in this bottle. Furthermore, your expectations from the sudden shift in color and the reaction that this may be something of demon nature, of demonic nature.
Oh my.
This is not
So-
just a vial of poison. This is something that's definitely a step above what would be required to just simply kill somebody or something in a general sense.
Do I feel like it would send that person to the demon realm or the
You
Infernal?
don't get any particular transportation essence from it.
Okay.
Does seem to be something just vile about it. You do gather that does seem to be a poisonous concoction, not so much a transportation thing.
For Daryl's edification,
Get on it.
demonic, specifically demonic.
As far as the doctors picked up, yes.
Okay, just one.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do I get a sense of biological, like it's come from something?
Partially, yes. Yeah, you can definitely pick up something. You really can't tell how much is currently, but you definitely know this was in some way pulled from a biological source.
If I made a educated guess, would I say it's something mixed with maybe demon ichor?
Yes, that's definitely a safe assumption.
But it's not pure demon ichor. It's something mixed with it.
There's more than that involved.
Okay. All right. So see these color striations here in the liquid. This basically shows me that there is a biological chemical within this that is of a most unusual nature. I'm thinking like a demon ichor, if you will, for the educated is a wrong term. It's unknowledgeable. It's
Layman.
demon blood, but it's not pure. It's mixed with something. It'll kill, and it won't be a nice death either. Demon ichor has a strong ability to mutate the body when it does so. So I would hate to be around when the person actually had to ingest this. He's actually pretty excited. He was like,
As you pull it away from the flame and explain it, it loses any of that dark hue and returns to that soft blue glow.
and I'll cork it back up, and I can hold on to this, or if you'd like, you can continue to hold on to this, but I would not recommend. And I mean, if somebody you disliked very strongly, you would want to hurt them on their way out of this mortal coil, this would be a good way to do it.
I hold my hand out for it.
I'll give it back.
Question, Doctor.
Yes.
From your examination, would you tell us, is that a fast-acting poison or is it slow?
Demon ichor, usually if you touch demon ichor, it will mutate rather rapidly. So I imagine this, and I cannot really, with this crude setup, I cannot accurately pinpoint what the rest of this concoction is mixed with it. So
I'm going to give you a heads up and say the consistency and the almost purity of what you've seen in that bottle, despite it being mixed with other ingredients, you're definitely aware of a potency.
So it's fast acting.
You would definitely assume a fast acting in the right hands or in the right imbiber.
Yes, I would say it would be quite fast and quite horrible, not just for the person dying, but also for those standing around watching it. Would probably be most fascinating.
It's vile, it corrupts, it twists. That is the nature of what is demonic. I don't put it in my pack, I don't put it in my pouch, I keep it just clutched in my hand for the time being.
And if you ever feel uncomfortable carrying it, I can certainly secure it.
Oh, I feel uncomfortable right now, but I'm going to hang on to it for a bit.
Fair enough.
Very
all right,
well.
I blow out the game.
Thank
Put
you,
all the
Doctor.
stuff back away. Oh, no problem. All right, let's go find out what this offering is.
That entire time, Brigade was making kids run suicides.
Of course he was. But Regain, enough
What?
playing with the children. We're headed up.
Are
Okay.
you're making your way north?
I would say that we're making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past if we're
my
homebound.
goodness.
No.
Oh,
This
Boo.
homebound?
And I need you. Sorry.
No. Boo.
oh wow. Never mind.
Anyway.
Roll initiative.
Oh, okay.
That's fair. That's a fair call, DM.
As you make your way to the northern area of the city, you see the trail of buildings stop, and from that you see it seems like flat land on first glance, but there do seem to be torches sort of continuing your direction north.
Um, in order to figure out if this is supposed to be is it? I guess the question is this a trail that we should follow or warning markers of where to avoid? Would that be something that I should do a like insight or like a survival check
You
for?
certainly can. I suppose survival.
That it
Cool.
sounds like survival.
Perfect. I'm good with either of those.
We're the two survival guys.
Yeah. So 15 plus 5 plus 1 is 21.
That is indeed 21. You
I do math.
you nailed it. And you nailed it. You see a well-walked path. You don't see any sign of what would be a trap or a misguiding direction or anything. This seems like something almost as if these people were heading to like the well to collect water. This seems like a well-worn path. Ahead of you.
I get what you're saying. Well, we have the trail to follow. Guess best stick close to it.
As we go along, I am keeping an eye out for a large flat rock. A boulder that big.
How big?
Larger than I can pick up.
Okay. As you continue forward, the ground itself seems to lose that nice plains flatness to it. You see some craggy edges as you move forward. Almost like the ground has been kind of just very quickly pushed away on two sides. Almost maybe something impacted, something slammed into this ground area. Either way, there's a sudden rocky crag in front of you.
Right, so
the idea of finding a long flat a boulder is not out of the question.
all right. So once I see the nearest one off to the side, I'll look at everyone else and I say, can we pause for just a moment, please?
Yes, of course.
Sure, certainly.
Okay.
And I'm going to walk over to where this rock is, and I'm going to open my palm and look at this file. Now, looking at this, can I tell if it's something I could break or if there's some sort of magic that would prevent that?
Just from the touch of the vial, it feels like thin glass. It feels like it wouldn't take too much effort to break it.
I'm going to set it down on the rock. I'm going to take my shield and I'm going to smash it.
Doctor, is she going to? Psh! Yep.
All right. As you do so, give me a strength check real quick on that swing.
All right.
Drunk cleric.
15.
15?
Mhm.
Yeah. It comes down hard and the vial shatters as you see the liquid just splash against this rock. It doesn't evaporate, it doesn't react strongly. Just sort of pools. It still has that slight glow to it.
Right now, what was that for?
was to rid us of it. Doctor,
Yes.
what would happen if I were to put water on it just to dilute it? Would it work?
Without knowing what the reagents were that were mixed with it, I'm not 100%. You could certainly, dilute it, but I don't think it would just wash away quite so easily. Holy water, now, if you have some of that, might.
I wish I did.
Oof. Can't you produce that as part of your...
It's a bit beyond what I'm able to do at the moment.
Brigand makes a perception check while this is happening.
Go for it. What in particular are you keeping an eye for?
Any particular dangers that may be encroaching. Anyone that may have been following us. And just a general look around of the area to see what could possibly be the goal of this.
Oh, a little bit of everything, aren't we? You don't immediately
when he's
spot
on, he's on. It's a 22.
22.
I rolled a nat 19.
Beautiful. You do not see anyone in the town that seems to have followed you.
Oh, it wasn't just from the town. I want to see that.
In general.
Okay, cool.
Anyone outside of your group you do not see in your danger zone. It's relatively quiet in this area.
So none of the noises.
You're a little bit of ways from the town, and that town seemed to have not encroached upon this area as strongly. You seem relatively alone in this situation.
General question, everyone. And I know this is also a question directed to you, Bram, but
Of course.
I'm just saying it out loud. Do you all still feel as safe out here as we were back in town?
Absolutely not.
And so I guess the question for Bran is, has that like protective feeling kind of like
for Bran, do you feel very safe?
interesting?
Like you may question why you feel this way, but
Almost
there's no
too safe.
there's no sense of danger around you. There's no that little twitch in the back of your head that makes you feel watched or in any sense of danger. That is definitely not here.
No, brother, I understand what you mean. It's unsettling how settled, I guess, I feel.
That's what Brigade Neil takes a knee so that he's still taller than everyone, but
Oh yes, now we're at eye level, sort of. Still looking like up a little bit.
my one concern right now is that nothing is around here. Nothing. As soon as we left the town, we heard all manners of creatures waltzing through the woods, and now I hear nothing.
Well,
And I am concerned.
yes.
As he says that, my nostrils kind of flare a little bit, and I just like start cracking my knuckles, and you can just like tell that I am very uncomfortable.
Give me a perception check.
Me?
Yes, you.
Ooh. You got it.
You got it, dude.
It's a 6.
A 6.
Oh.
It's fine.
This is for the one thing I didn't
You,
ask for, I guarantee you.
You glanced up for just a moment. And you could just almost taste something on the air. just a little familiar in the far reaches in the back of your head, in the back of your psyche. Just
Does it smell
something.
like freshly baked bread? Is that what I'm smelling?
You know damn well.
No, but satisfying.
Okay.
Look, I think we've hung out here far too long. Let's worry about this and all this later. I want to pull this mystery off and just find out what it is.
You seem a bit you seem too excited. Calm yourself.
Yes, let's get it up.
I'm going to quickly toss some dirt on what I just broke.
Okay.
For lack of anything better to do.
Okay.
And just leave it at that.
All right, you do. It remains a viscous, liquidy form. You sprinkle the dirt, and it gets, you can see that dirt coat over the top of it, but you can still, if you watch it for just long enough, you can see a slight movement in it.
All right. I don't like that.
DM, with my perception check.
You do it.
No, just with the other one that I did before I roll anything.
I have not forgotten.
Does this? Oh God!
What do you see?
Does the moon seem like it's more out here than it is anywhere else, or is it still overcast?
I'm gonna say that this, on first glance, seems like the brightest you've recognized since your time here.
Panic in the back. Panic in the back of Brigade's head.
Kira, don't worry about that for now. We'll come back and we'll contend to that in a bit.
Let's
It
go.
seems to be brighter here.
As Brigane makes that connection, I kind of clutch at my necklace, and just kind of run my fingers through it, and you can just tell I'm very, very fidgety.
You are incredibly fidgety here. There's something in the back of your mind that's a little alarming, a little pleasing. There's something hidden back inside of you that is pretty excited to be here right now.
And what's my impression of this brighter moonlight?
You do not have the exact same response.
I figured not.
Not not the same shock of emotions or static as Brolin has. There's definitely something here that's calling to you. There's definitely a draw, but it's not as enticing in that sort of sense.
Let's go.
Right. Did they say exactly where we would be able to find this this stuff that we can collect?
As you move forward, it seems pretty clear that the only path seems to be towards a cave or a cavern that sets in front of you. It looks like the town just sort of funneled into this exact spot. You can see where the crags and ground is sort of pushed up on both sides. So you're sort of looking at a valley, but so much deeper.
I don't think we're going to be able to miss it.
I'm just gonna move Salem back down there.
So map 2 for all of you.
Well, that's inviting.
You can set yourselves on there as you like. I didn't set that down there.
Brigade would take point.
Doctor will be in the back.
They're just fighting for this back.
No, you go. I can
After you.
I'll be
As
in the middle where I feel most safe.
as you come to this great valley that goes into Cavern, there are rope bridges directly in front of you. They seem well maintained.
Okay.
This isn't something that's falling apart, and your first instinct is, "Oh God, I'm going to die here." This looks well taken care of.
Brigade is still ginger because it's a
You
rope bridge.
you are still giant.
Yes.
But,
I'm a 600+ pound creature.
About how far does it look like, the bridge is off the ground?
on your first step, you can follow the trail about 30 to 40 feet down. You can still see where one would touch base if they went down from your initial starting place. But these bridges just seem to go to a different rock face, and then just another bridge, and then another bridge. It just seems to slowly travel down.
Yikes.
Right, well, I'm waiting on you, Brigade. Going forward.
Oh, Brigade is, even while being ginger, he's moving at a pace because he's starting to get annoyed with how long this is taking. So he's moving as quickly as he deems safe for a person of his size on this.
I am sticking as close to Brigade as possible without running into him.
He wouldn't notice.
I'm just keeping up the middle.
Could I make another perception check while this
You
is
proceed away.
Thank you. I don't like how quiet you've been. I'm hearing clicking on your side, Bram.
Oh, that's probably unrelated, I assure you.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
porque. The betrayal.
A
The
natural
heart-wrenching.
a natural betrayal.
A natural betrayal, yes.
Oof.
All right.
I rolled an 18 and 19 for the only two rolls I've made. Of course, the next one's going to be a 1 and not a 20.
It sounds weird up here. It sounds like that odd ebb and flow of the ocean to you. You don't know if it's the wind, sort of rocking at the bridge, but you just hear this continuous
It
Dear-
sounds like the inside of a seashell.
Do we also hear that, Bran?
I want you to give me a perception.
Okay.
So
If
I
you
guess
want,
we're all.
want to. Yeah, give me all. Let's see how we do.
I was gonna say because Salem's got he's in danger mode now. Just kind of walking into the maw of this chasm. Not fun.
All right.
So he's
I rolled a 9.
definitely got his cockles up.
How long does Kira's blessing last? Is it a one and done, or is it
Oh, it's-
I think guidance is a one and go, right?
Yeah, it's a one and done.
okay? 13 for the doctor.
13.
14, 16 for Salem.
And 16 for Salem.
14 for Kira.
14. Okay. All right. For the lot of you, it just sounds like the wind hitting these bridges that you cross. You're hearing this sound as you go.
So Salem is in. I am in full paranoia mode at this point. And I am parking myself on this rock, and I have my head on a swivel.
Okay.
Let's make haste and get down off these bridges instead of. I'm sure it'll be fine. And
I'm
I'll
not
walk
sure
up.
about fine, but I agree with getting off the bridges.
I am not on a bridge. I would like to have a way out if I need to.
Brigade is also not on a bridge. If Brigade's stopping, it's on something semi-solid.
There definitely seems to be a fairly nice flat awning for you to land on in between bridges.
Just from my perspective, does it look like I could make that jump back to regular land?
No, not at all at this point.
Fudge and wackles. All right.
Now you're looking 30, 40 feet.
By the way, how dark is it the further we go? Is it getting darker?
It's getting colder,
Colder.
but not particularly darker. You're definitely feeling the descent into the earth, but it's not particularly dark here.
Good to know.
Seeing Brigane stop, I look over my shoulder and see that Salem too has stopped. And I do kind of like a whisper shout. Are you okay? Can I come back and help you off the rock? And I make my way towards him, very gingerly, getting around the doctor and Kura.
The bridges seem very sturdy, considering any experience with a wooden drawbridge, or excuse me, a wooden rope bridge that you've had. They're generally a little dodgy.
Brigade, let's move forward.
These seem relatively well maintained.
Brigade has moved forward, and then he's just like, so anyway, Brandon, about the chicken. So it's it.
Brigade, give me that other perception roll.
Don't you fuck me. Actually, I'm not going to use you. Oh, better. So much better. Nat 16 for a 19.
19. What definitely seemed like the rush of wind in a cavern seems to have changed tempo to your ears. It's not just the of wind coming across. It now has a bit of a pause in between the gust. It's more of a
like a breath.
Very much like a breath.
But no one's near me. Here's the thing: no one's near me.
I'll motion for Kira to continue. They'll be along. Let's get down off of here.
I hold my hand out to Salem. And I just kind of
grabby hands.
Basically, every time Brigade moves forward, he stops on a solid place and waits for everyone. It was just that Bronwyn suddenly went the opposite direction.
You said the path down does not seem particularly treacherous to you, any of you. It's
I still wait.
it seems pretty secure. Yeah,
I still wait till someone's close enough to share my thought on this wind, air quotes, with.
I
So
get
who,
there.
Gora,
Yes.
this is not wind. Something is breathing very hard.
I'll look over her
Something
shoulder and
large.
you said breathing?
How loudly do you say that?
Like this loud. Not like
Okay.
echoey loud, but breathing?
Possibly. At first, I
I-
thought it seemed like wind, but now there's a pause, like someone taking a breath.
And I'm going to listen for that.
I'm going to say once it's brought to your attention, that definitely sounds like what you're hearing. It's
And the
this
next-
long intake and that exhale.
Well. Into the belly of the beast.
I don't like this.
I wasn't doing anything else today.
As Bronlin is extending their hand to me, I'm not looking at them. I'm, again, eyes darting around everything. I say, Bronlin, when I was out in the Shadow Marshes, there were these creatures. They had these lights, you see. They would shine like fireflies in the dusk, which would attract birds. Birds normally feast on these things. Circle of life kind of thing. But these creatures with the lights, they would lure in the birds until it was too late. I get a similar feeling for our situation. The uncomfortable sense of ease that we had before, that seemed like the light to me. The fireflies light of warning.
I look back at him and I sweetly smile and I just say, well, that might be true, but at least we'll be together. Shall we? And I keep holding my hand out
So
to try to get him off the rock.
I fix my gaze on their hand and stand up and straighten my coat. And I will take their hand, but as we start walking, still full, like, paranoia alert mode. Probably not paying as much attention to where I'm going as I should be, more to my surroundings.
I definitely take notice of that and start leading Salem to the path.
As you lead forward and catch up with the rest, you notice that last rope bridge is a very steep drop to it. It's still there. It's still secured for handling, but it definitely has a significant drop, as you've been doing the whole time. But this one seems to be particularly so.
Can we see if that goes all the way to the floor? That's the last one sort of thing.
I'm gonna say, yeah. It looks like that would lead towards the bottom of the scabbard.
All right, let's listen. The innkeeper can do it. Let's do it ourselves. We can do this.
Ordain started moving as soon as you said all right. He just started walking.
I follow.
I
everyone going?
I tug Salem along.
As you do, absolutely.
In the darkness of this cavern, as you go down this steep ride, two things suddenly catch your eyes. One is the glint of silver or some metal, and the other seems to be the frame of an enormous humanoid. And that's where we're going to stop right now. I believe it is break time.
All right.
We got some announcements.
What?
We do. First, you need to introduce yourselves. I did a not bang up job on telling all the lovely people who you lovely people are. So if you want to do that real quick,
I will
knock that out, and we'll
I
do
will.
announcements.
I personally will, because apparently
Personally.
I'm first. Hello, I'm Daryl Dorsey, and I play your Goliath fighter, Brigade Stonebuilt.
Hey homies, I'm Jess Wade and I play your druid tiefling Bronlin.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I am playing Salem Klein, the human inquisitive rogue.
Right, and I'm Laura, and I am playing Kura, the human Twilight cleric.
And I am Matt. I am playing the elven alchemist, the good doctor.
And I am Bran. I am your DM back from the not dead. All right, a couple of quick announcements, and we're going to take a super short break. Don't forget to ask characters questions by typing question in full caps, followed by your question, and which character it's direct to, and we will answer up to 3 questions. Type !question in the chat.
And the Games Tavern Patreon is a great way to support the show and get useful perks and awesome content. The latest updates include early access to interviews from the Games Tavern Happy Hour, miniature paint plans from the Minis Paint Show, and battle maps and plug-in encounters in your games. Just go to patreon.com/thegamestavern, all one word, and get your hands on this amazing content. Some recognition of our regular Patreon supporters: Veritas23, Rose, that's a word, Madth, MADTH Productions, Michael B, and Christopher D. Thank you for all your patronage and support.
Sorry about the name.
And don't forget, Laura brought up that we do have an awesome giveaway this evening. Make sure you type !epic. That's EPIC into the Twitch chat right now to enter in to win a character generator from Overhead Games. And we will be back in a short 5 minutes.
Have a good day. All right. Welcome back. I think we have a couple questions. One was for the doctor. What is your favorite comfort food, Doc?
Well, I'm something of a vegetarian. I in my line of work, I see too much meat, so I like a good tomato sandwich. Nice toasted bread with sliced tomatoes on it, sprinkled with some pepper or other seasonings that I might have handy and put between. That on a nice summer day, maybe some cucumbers mixed in. That is a good comfort food. It reminds me of a simpler time.
I like it, but I appreciate a caprese sandwich, so with you there. The other question was to me. What character am I going to kill tonight? That is never up to me. That is completely up to the party.
Oh no.
though I am thoroughly curious who they are going to kill tonight.
Oh,
Chicken stealer.
Oh
feel
my.
like I know, and I'm just.
Yeah, you're on the low list of people to save. I'm just gonna let you know that now.
I know that Daryl would never save me.
Wow.
I've
It's
played
you-
too much
I mean,
Dead
it-
by Daylight with you.
It's Bronwyn and Salem. They're at the low tier right now.
Oh.
Wow.
Ouch.
You steal. You,
Ouch.
you don't even steal. You take a man's chicken because he doesn't say no one time, and that's how he thinks of you. Woof.
I mean, it's Salem think that Brigade doesn't recognize that he's insulting him. So
What? No.
Feels like Survivor all of a sudden.
will be voted off.
And hey, chat, don't forget to enter into our giveaway by typing !epic so you can win your own epic character generator from our awesome sponsor, Overhead Gaming.
If it makes you feel better, you shout epic when you
It
type it
doesn't-
in.
It doesn't.
It makes
have
me
to
feel
be-
better.
It doesn't have to be used for D&D either. So if you're a Pathfinder player or
Yeah,
they
we
have
got.
sci-fi stuff on there.
I think all of us got to play around with the character maker. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
some world of darkness in there.
Yeah.
That's right. Bring out your vampires.
Perhaps a kid on a broom.
Shall
Okay,
we?
back to this hellscape?
All
Let's
right.
go.
I think back to the hellscape, but that's a bit enough fun for all of you.
Haha.
All right. So before we took our break, the party had made their way just far enough to recognize two things in the darkness of this cavern. One, the glint of silver or steel. And two, what appears to be the body, the form of a very large figure down deep into the cavern.
Is it extremely dark in here?
Not extremely. It's dark enough.
Like dark enough that if you don't per se, I don't know, like don't have dark vision.
While that would normally be a factor, there does appear to be fires or torches just below you.
Okay.
So we see sort of that pathway of torches continued.
Oh yeah, you can definitely follow it. It's not a difficult path.
Thank goodness I haven't figured out how to activate that tattoo yet. So, we're all seeing this, right?
Yes, you are.
No, that was to everyone else.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yes, yes. I see
Oh.
it.
Okay, we're still going forward.
Do we have much of a
So-
choice?
Now, Bran, when you say a humanoid figure, are we seeing clothes
I
of any
also heard-
kind?
Not
I also
everyone's
heard
naked
hulking.
like you.
I also heard hulking.
Unfortunately, everyone is naked, quite like him. And
Brigade
Uh,
joint suit.
You are witnessing a very pale skin in this darkness. So pale that it almost seems to illuminate around.
Oh my.
Insight. Is
Do
it
it.
right?
Yeah.
Does
Do
it
it.
seem?
What is that?
Is it aware, or is it animalistic in nature? Is what I'm looking for.
Give me your insight check.
Gonna roll you for the first time since I bought you.
It's due time.
Nat 20,
Beautiful.
and I'm going to show it because I like to be truthful.
Nice.
Ooh, pretty.
Is that the Brigade dice?
No, that's not. That's way too small. This is the Brigade dice.
There
That
we
was
go.
that was such a perfect roll. I'm gonna unveil for the map.
Oh my.
Ah,
I went from a 1
This
to a
is
20.
this is definitely not an animalistic feature or figure.
Oh my god.
You see
The abs, the
a
pecs.
exquisite humanoid figure. What artist would carve in stone or paint on murals? A beautiful figure. However, it is not in any state of presence that you have seen replicated in art. You see it simply plunged into the stalagmites in this cave.
It's like we say
like-
plunge, it's like it's been stabbed through.
Stabbed through.
oh,
You see what should be glorious feathery wings just dashed upon these rocks. Within its body, you see just plunged through these spikes of earth, very clearly pinning it into this area.
it's alive.
It definitely is alive.
I should be
you
able-
now recognize where the sounds of that wind have been coming from, and it is the labored breaths from this angelic figure.
Well,
Which
that's
I recognize as angelic, yes.
I would certainly think so. Do you? I've forgotten. Celestial?
Do I know Celestial?
Do you know
Uh,
Celestial? Does
I
anyone know Celestial?
I do not.
I got Goblin. To speak
That's-
Goblin?
That is almost the same language. It's odd,
Damn, so
but,
close.
so close.
the same written text.
It is.
Very,
It's some-
very, very close. Very similar graphics.
It's somehow
but-
they both
but-
use dwarven
they-
text.
They don't have a pen and paper there, so it really doesn't help.
Well,
So yes, all of you see this beautiful figure dashed and impaled upon these rocks.
I
Brigade?
am
Okay, sorry.
I am running up to it.
If Brigade sees Kura running, he runs after her.
As Brigade starts to move forward, I'll put my hand up and wait, look, and I'll point off to the left. Now that my friend is a sword. The massive sword sticking out of the ground.
The doctor points out a sword that is easily 12, 14 feet tall.
This is to Brigade, you say
It's
this?
massive.
Yeah, like he's like, do you see that?
It's very much. He runs through you to catch up with Kura. It's not like he doesn't run you over,
No.
but you put your hand up. It's just like you might
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well have just not been there.
It's paper. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, in the right light, the sword would have cast shadow well over you, Doc.
What's this thing here in between the two of them? the fire pit? Is it like a fire pit or a?
It does. It looks like a place of sacrifice. As you would glance, you see various herbs and resins and incense there that obviously are brought as an offering in any normal situation.
I'll be procuring samples of that, all the different stuff, and putting them away for later.
Yeah, there's nothing hiding them away. They're there for the use.
And Brigane like rush forward to this angelic figure. I look over my shoulder at Salem and I kind of give a nod, like, should we go up? Should we stay here? What do you want to do?
So, as we have approached this, I am no longer eyes darting around, fixed on the figure now. Like, I myself am just as stone as any of the stalagmites around us. And then a cautionary glance towards the sword, and then back at you.
Brigade turns to Kura as she runs up and goes, "Are we breaking it out?"
I want to.
Immediately just runs and tries to body check a stalactite that's piercing it.
Wait, Brigane. Just wait.
give me a roll for that. Give me an athletics.
I almost rolled percentage dice to see if you would actually wait when she says it. What was it? Athletics? 19.
19?
Yes.
You slam hard into the stalagmite, and it has no give.
I really wanted to pull off that same, like the Rock in the Rundown when he just busts through that pillar in the middle. I just really wanted to do that.
No, these, as you're looking at it, the smallest ones appear to be at least 5-6 foot thick around. These are massive spikes.
Could I make a deception check to make it seem like the reason I didn't break through it was when she said wait?
I will definitely allow that.
Oh my god, nat 18.
Suspecting weighted dice.
Yeah, Kura believes you followed her word.
Yes. As I hide a limp. Yes.
The giant angelic figure is glancing your direction. It appears to be on its back as it was speared through, but it's looking down the direction of you all.
I believe I understand what's happening here. It's all quite clear now.
I think I have an inkling.
So to answer Ronlin's question, I pull out my water skin, I take a swig, and I pour the rest of it out. We've come here to do a job. I aim to complete it. And I'll start walking towards the figure.
Hey, we all figured out that the liquid that they were giving is the angel's blood, right?
It seems you're under that assumption now. Salem, I'm going to say, as you have moved forward ahead of all, what originally seemed to be the common sound of water droplets in a cave have very clearly, you notice, are blood pooling and dropping from certain areas from this pierced figure.
I'm going to get into a position where I can look at the angel fully in the face. And I'm going to show my amulet. Do you understand me?
He gives a strained pull of his body, and as you approach forward, you can definitely see one of the spears of earth that are going through its chest, and that seems to be where the predominant flow of these the sounds of pouring liquid are coming from. And it leans over to you and it speaks. You don't recognize the language, but it's beautiful.
It just sounds like harps playing.
It sounds like harps playing. It sounds like choir singing. It reminds you of the home that maybe you didn't have, but you deserved.
I think he understood you. Do you understand him?
I don't, but my goddess, such as this being, are in her employ.
I'll stride up next to Kira and say, let me try a different tactic. And then I'll or for those that speak the language, do you speak the demon tongue?
It looks perplexed by hearing you, but it doesn't seem to acknowledge an understanding. Like recognizes but doesn't understand.
It was worth a try.
As it is, he does a slight body shift, and as it does, you can just see the blood pool down one of these spines, and you notice the various little buckets and barrels sort of lining the spike.
And point of change, it wasn't. I didn't say demon tongue, the infernal tongue, the devil tongue. I said.
I followed you.
I mixed the two up, but it would be infernal.
Hearing the doctor speak in infernal,
Yes,
I just
you
kind
would
of
recognize that.
look over at him and go, "Huh?"
Oh, you speak infernal.
And I go back. Yes.
Very nice. Well, I'm sure that'll come in very handy later. If we need to
Brigandi goes,
communicate.
okay, so stop moving. You have been stabbed very badly. And what the hell could do this to you?
Giant frog?
What?
Maybe a giant frog. I don't
No.
know.
On your glance at this figure, it seems like it would easily dwarf the frog that you came across.
Yes, this is.
Given the shattering of Earth and where it is, it definitely seems to have landed or impacted or caused this crater.
Could you nod yes for no? Wait. Nod yes for yes and shake for no. Your head. If you understand what I am saying.
It glances your direction, gives a weakened nod.
If I bring you your sword, could you get out?
It weakly shakes no.
If we all climb back up to the top and then put down some ropes and you grabbed onto it, do you think we could pull you up?
It glances over to arms that just seem shattered and broken.
Oh,
And again
Cora.
pierced through by the rocks.
Cora, do you think if we got you to it, you could heal it a little bit and think it could get out on its own?
This is the trouble. He's pierced through.
You could just heal its arm and it could just punch it or something.
This doesn't seem like it's been a recent injury. So much so that you've actually been able to see where the land and the earth that seems to have grown past the piercings. It on glance it seems very stuck.
So as Salem is as I am collecting blood from one of these buckets, not looking at the angel.
Okay.
I'll ask them. If we got that sword over here, would it release you? Not to regain, not to free, to release him.
To get him?
When a creature in the woods is crippled and dying, the merciful thing is to put it out of its misery.
Yes, I'm well aware of what to do in the woods. Salem.
Then, the merciful thing would be to release him.
He already turned his back to Salem.
Here's the situation we find ourselves in, my friends. So, this angelic, and I look at the creature, has plummeted to this place, is now casting its mere presence is casting a protective aura around the town that we've come to know as Starfall. Get it? So, they've been worshiping this figure, the angelic statue in the center of town, for quite some time as the entity that brings them peace in this hellish landscape. We dispatch this creature or set it free, we risk exposing those people to some horrors that they have never known.
Doctor?
Doing before the angel was here.
The town is named Starfall. I would imagine it's been here quite a while.
Doctor, let me ask. Does this creature look like it's here by choice?
Certainly not. I imagine there was some battle. I don't follow in what the gods do. They do things.
If you were held captive, regardless of the intentions of your captors, what would you want? And this whole time I'm still looking at the angel, hoping that it's understanding, but not entirely expecting it to understand.
I don't know if he regards them as captors, perhaps. I look at the angelic figure. Are you being held here? I mean, have they offered to help, or are they using you?
The stones are holding it here.
Well, I know, but the people here might not be able to...
Ed, do you want us to get you out of here, or do you want us to, kill you? If we kill you, will you go back to, the heavens or something?
In between gasp of air, again, the celestial voice comes out. And you don't understand it. You just know it's beautiful. It is honey in your ears.
So,
it is everything you've wanted to hear.
Right.
But you don't understand.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can I reach any part of this angel? Can I touch
Oh
it?
yeah. Yeah, you can definitely come into a contact with.
I don't cast anything, but I just reach up and put my hands on him. And then I look back at everyone else, and then I turn around. I am angry, but I'm also in tears. And I say, it's either let this creature suffer or turn suffering upon the town. There is no way to win this particular situation.
The town has thrived off of suffering.
What?
The town has thrived off of suffering.
It has thrived off of suffering. So what is the answer?
They've turned a tragedy into life. A peaceful existence here.
But this being has no life. It has no life that it used to have in the realms far beyond our comprehension of what peace is, what tranquility is, the lack of suffering.
Kura, you said this creature is on the level of your god, yes?
Such as this creature serve my goddess. I cannot in good conscience let him stay this way. But I cannot in good conscience let those people suffer either.
Well, now, Dinar, he lives right outside of town, the turnip farmer, and I mean, he's in the ripe old age of what? He's an old man. Who's to say that the town also won't prosper like him?
There's certainly a chance that the town will survive. They will adapt. Some will die. There'll be acceptable losses of life, regardless. But we don't know how far this Celestial's aura extends. It could be weakened out near Turnip Farmer, and that's how he's lived there by himself for so long.
I would say, in a world such as this, in a place such as this, we could use the favor of the Celestial, more so than the favor of the people. I like the people, but also, I don't believe any of us have any want of staying here longer, and perhaps a creature as powerful as this, as hurt as it may be, could lend us aid in the future.
Can we even take the sword out of the stone?
It's not for us.
It is massive.
That sword would not.
It towers above you.
I could perhaps get it out of the ground, but not reach it back to over here.
Right. Now, how would we even go about releasing the creature?
We need to break one of the stones holding it. And then perhaps we could heal a portion of it. Well, by we, I mean those of us who are more...
The poison.
Healers. Well, the poison is gone. There is no poison. The poison is gone.
The poison was intended for him.
Yes, I made that out a long time ago.
I will mention the fact that should we manage to free him or release him, we also face the town's ire.
Yes.
Or
Not planning on staying at the town forever, Doctor, are you?
no, but we have to get back through it to get out of here. And if this makes quite a scene, it'll be hard to sneak out.
Well, I believe that Salem has already taken a bit of the acre that we were supposed to get. And I believe the poisoner already told us that he could find us. So that portion of the job is already done. Now we are arguing some minor details.
I am going to turn back to the Celestial. look it in the eyes again. Say again. Nod for yes, shake your head for no. If we were to somehow free you from this, would you survive?
There's a long pause as it stares deep into your eyes. And there's almost, it feels awaited when it shakes its head no. Your direction. It is a heavy no.
Kira,
What?
ask him if he wishes to continue to serve to protect that town as long as it can hold out. Or if it wishes for a sweet release.
Would you continue to protect?
It gives no dignifier of yes or no. Again, the voice radiates through all of you.
So when
And it is warm and comforting, and it's everything you've wanted to feel or hear.
I can do something.
But the figure itself, you just see what appears to be tears streaming from its eyes.
What if we could free you? What if there was something I could do? I am nothing compared to you. But I have some small power. Some blessing from my goddess. If I could spare you, would you protect still?
Its broken and shattered hand attempts to reach towards your direction, but it can't. It's pierced through the earth.
I'll touch it.
But it extends out, and you don't quite understand what it's saying. It's a soft pleading voice, as warming as it is. There's something heavy and weakened about it.
Could I make an insight check
Of course,
when it says
Yeah.
says whatever it says?
of course. Both
Salem's
of you.
reading
you.
that. That is going to be.
As they're perceiving, the doctor's still standing right next to Kira where she's reaching out and touching. He kind of like, Kira,
What?
I was holding on to this for, oh nice. I was
30,
holding
20.
on to this for later investigation and for my own edification. But, and he reaches in and he pulls a vial from his bandolier that was in a deeper pocket of it, and he hands it to her, and you'll recognize the color striations and the demon ichor concoction that she smashed up there. I retrieved a sample of what I could.
The glow is familiar. It is not as the vial is not nearly as intricate or well crafted.
I can't promise it'll work.
There is dust and soot swirling around in it, but you definitely recognize what the doctor picked up.
What?
And Brigade, you recognize this self-loathing tiredness in the voice. It's this weird balance between resistant and strong, and at the same time wavering and exhausted.
It doesn't know if it wants to end it or to carry on. I know that very well.
So it's impaled on the stalagmites, yes?
Yes.
The only thing I
Multiple.
fear with that is that it may not be potent enough, and it may just corrupt them. So
That I would rather not.
Did it ever give us a nod or a shake if we release it from this mortal coil that it would live on in some way?
It gave a
It said
a
no,
negative.
if it's gone, it's gone. It's gone.
I want to try something, but I need all of your help.
Yes.
More breaking. If we can break some of the stalagmites free, we can help get it loose. I will spend as much power as I have available to me trying this.
I'm assuming the stalagmites are thinner as they go up.
They are.
All it takes is Kura says, "I need help breaking the stalagmites," and Brigade says,
You're
nods and tries to climb up one.
You're also looking at 15, 20 feet up, with a massive figure there.
Is it stalagmites and stalactites, or is it just stalagmites?
Stalactites are down, right?
Yes.
They hold on
Stalagmites
tight.
come up.
Stalagmites might make it to the. Yeah, it's stalagmites that are
Okay.
pierce through.
I'm gonna full blown Mulan it and just try to just get my way up there and just start punching it when it gets to a thinner point.
Give me a attack roll for that.
You must be swift as a grassy river. Unarmed, I'm assuming.
However you went about it.
It's all the same except for my glaive. 9. It's a total of 9.
And you pound your fist, and there is no give in this. You are punching against what feels like an earth elemental itself.
Eventually, I switch to one of my hand axes, but I'll let someone else do some stuff before I get to that.
As he's working on that, I would look to the Celestial and say, not with a nod of your head, but a blink of your eyes, have you been here for centuries?
It does a fairly quick nodding blink.
Now, how many centuries have you been here? Blink, for each blink would be a century. Roughly.
It gives a weakened one, and then just stares out.
So it's been here at least a century.
Doctor, it's possible that being trapped here for so long, it's lost track of that time.
Oh, I was looking for a rough estimate, but a single century is still a while. So I imagine it's going to be a little rough to get him free.
I'm looking for somewhere to start swinging my battle axe.
While Bergain's up there, he just goes, "Hey, Cora, do you think if you like give it some healing or something, you would give him a bit more strength to assist me with this?"
His arms are chapped, Bergain.
Okay.
Brigade, you are full force against these stalagmites, and at best you're putting just slivers of chips away from it.
Eventually I switch to an axe. That's a better angle to try and break this. The back end of the axe that's made for actually blunt force.
I follow you.
Yeah.
Again, it's such a minuscule chip away at this earth.
Can I maybe do some cantrips at some of the stalagmites, perhaps?
Of course.
I'd like to go up to the smallest looking one and just start ray of frosting it over and over and over again. And if it doesn't seem to be doing anything, when the frost kind of melts, I want to shape that water and freeze it, and just after secession, just continually just trying to freeze the stalagmite to see if that will weaken it at all.
As you proceed and you continue your frost of there's very little condensation that is natural in this area, and all of the droplets and the sound and the moisture seem to be blood from the creature. So in that, you are able to freeze the stalactite around it and sort of staunch the blood flow from this angelic being, but it doesn't seem to particularly weaken the earth itself around it.
Okay. As the stalagmite is starting to freeze, I want to wait just a couple beats and then create a bonfire at the base of it to see if that will then melt it.
Okay.
And that's a cantrip.
It is a cantrip. As you do, you suddenly cast this fire around this frozen peak that you've made. There's suddenly the sizzle of the condensation of that cave, and there is that steam of water burning away, but there is also at the same time that sizzle of flesh being burned underneath that bonfire.
Okay, I immediately put the bonfire out and I just do a little ray of frost in that general area. Shut up, sorry.
And sure enough, that sizzle is gone. Again, that cooling freeze spikes that area.
As they're working, I'll be going around and just taking down as many notes as I can about the creature, the consistency of like his skin, taking samples of the dripping blood from him. You said there was feathers around?
You definitely see feathery wings that seem to be broken.
Any loose feathers?
Not that you spot directly. You do spot that on some of the other points there do seem to be buckets there to collect blood.
Interesting. I'll just walk around taking notes because I can't help break.
There's
this.
that. The skin is this alabaster pale, almost to a grayish white tone on this figure. Other than the various pinpoints due to the landing that are seemingly continuously just leaching blood under the rocks and then into containers that have been brought by the village. But the wings, while broken and almost mangled, don't seem to be molting feathers.
That's fine. Fascinating. I wish it was in different circumstances, but this will certainly hopefully help in the future.
Is there anywhere I can get to that puts me up at a thinner point on the stalagmite?
Yeah, there are several points where its body is pinned that you could climb up. Any area in particular you're aiming for?
Possibly along an arm.
Yeah, that definitely seems reasonable. That an arm has been shattered but remains.
I would definitely, if need be, since I've climbed up, I would lower a rope if that would help you and pull Kura up.
Just want to get to somewhere where I can start whacking at it with my battle axe.
Kura, the vial the doctor gave you. May I? And I'll extend my hand for you to pass it to me.
Why?
I understand the nobility of what you all are trying to do. I don't know of great strength or the ways of most magics. But if that is what ends this being's misery, and you all don't have the constitution to use it, then I will.
As a last resort.
Take all the time you need.
Again, I will warn you. I don't know if it will have its full potency, or what kind of monstrous creation we could create.
Right, but the monstrous creation would still be trapped in this cave.
We don't know if it would give it more strength.
That's
Magic is
why-
weird. Magic is weird.
It can be. And I'm just gonna start whacking.
As you bring your axe to it again, the stalagmite is just, you're putting the finest of chips into the earth.
Magically reinforced?
It certainly seems like it.
Like its blood has been strengthening these stalactites.
You are, like I said, it almost feels like you're going against an earth elemental. You're putting the finest of just slightest chips away at this, and you do believe you could clear through.
Might
But
I?
It
I think we should
in
climb
a
a
sense,
buff.
it seems like it would probably be months, if years, to chip away at.
Might I suggest one more alternative?
We climb above it and then get the rocks that the blood is not dripping onto.
That wasn't my alternative is not today. We clearly lack the abilities to help this creature, one way or the other. If we leave, it doesn't have to be forever. We can either garner help from someone more powerful or become more powerful ourselves and come back and help this creature. It doesn't have to end here. I mean, if we try the vial, we could create a worse problem than we have already. If we could be here forever or until the villagers finally figure out what we're trying to do and drag us out of here. Or we come back later with more resources and better help and either perhaps free this creature without having to free this creature. If you get my meaning.
My eyes immediately go to Kira.
Who has not been listening. And if I could rage, that's what I'd be doing. I'm just hammering at it.
This creature's been here for centuries. A few more months, years, is certainly not going to make the difference one way or the other.
Right now, Doctor, what if we were to enhance ourselves with its blood? Do you think maybe we would be strong enough to wield its sword? Maybe Brigane, obviously not me.
That is an unknown scenario. I
am not drinking any blood.
I mean, the theoretics of it are fascinating, and I would certainly love to see that happen, but...
Doctor, I agree with the first portion of what you said. Growing stronger, perhaps garnering favor with others. But this creature is suffering.
Certainly.
And this creature is above us. Especially now. And the more thinking portions of our groups have already garnered the things we need. And he kind of gestures at Salem. I hate to say it, but we cannot do this now. And I have a feeling that the poisoner is probably waiting at the top of the cavern anyway.
That is certainly possible.
I don't believe we would need to kill this creature. That is not what I will work toward. I will simply work toward releasing this creature. And then when I say release, I mean release, Doctor.
Certainly, that's would be the
And then he says
preferable
it.
goal.
And then he says it way more gravelly, and I mean release, Salem.
Doctor kind of
does,
nudges
goes,
away
just
from
past him.
Doctor and Salem, give me an Arcana roll.
I'm still going.
You're still chopping away.
That is
7.
going to be 16.
16.
Yes, sir.
Salem, you recall. You may not put it into a bed or write it in the stone, but you recall that anything so pure, if it were to die, would simply disappear and return.
It would return.
As you've heard.
Is this something I would know? Kind of coming out of the church.
I want to say yes. I want to say you would understand that as far as lore has it, anything of that level of purity would simply return to their god.
As Kura's whacking away, I go up, place a hand on her shoulder. If we are to put this being out of its misery here, not to free it, I remember some of my family who are more of the religious nature, like yourself, saying that should a being such as this fall in combat or something such as that it does not die, so to speak, that it just returns. I'd imagine that's something that you understand.
Yes.
Then you know what we need to do.
If we do that, you will not use that poison. I have a way, I think.
Very well.
I also propose that we take up protection of the people we are about to sentence to suffering.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
We're about to. I stop and I get to where I can look it in the eyes again. I'm sorry. And I look for where it's most wounded. Where is that?
On the glance from your direction, it's through the chest. You can practically see the heart beating.
Go to where you belong.
Doctor's gonna move back, like way back.
I'm going to reach up into the wound. And I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt.
Go ahead and roll.
Would it happen to be advantage against a creature that's not moving?
And prone.
It would if were that necessary, so sure.
Is this an auto crit situation as soon as you hit? Yeah.
But it is divine damage to
Yeah.
a divine creature.
And yeah, I know that.
Embrace. Take the embrace of your forefathers. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Actually, let's see here. I'm gonna cast Inflict Wounds instead. It's the opposite type of damage.
There we go.
All right.
Oh boy.
22.
There's a lurch of the body underneath you. You can go ahead and roll damage if you want.
16 necrotic.
All right. You see, again, you see this massive chest lurch up, and you see tears start to stream down eyes.
I'll do it again.
Go ahead, roll.
Twenty-one.
That'll hit.
$16 again.
You see this body just lurch and arc against.
Is
Yeah,
it still
that's-
moving?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
My last spell slot, I'll do it again. $23.
All right. Go ahead.
$15.
All right. You see this figure again shift wildly. And you hear this rend and snap of bone as it shifts. And you just see blood start to squirt and spray from the various areas that it's pierced through. And you start to see the flow into the buckets and the barrels beneath, and just start to flow over as it shifts and winces, and you don't quite understand the language, but it's calling out your direction.
Gonna make an inside check.
Of course,
I'd like to also.
do it.
30-20.
12.
Brigade, that you're definitely aware of a lament
Yes.
in these actions. More so the body language spoke to you as it shifted and arced and moved and was unable to do anything past those actions. And Kura, you're watching just the eyes of this figure as it's trying to stare at you and then trying to pull away and focusing on you, and then again pulling down and away.
Question. At any
Please.
point during this struggle, do any of the stalactites or stalagmites seem to shift and become easier to break?
The flow of blood seems to be easier, but actually pulling away from this area is not.
So at no point does it seem like some shift of stone may have occurred and it could be just hit and break away so it can somehow get itself out.
The barrels are definitely filling up faster.
Yes. Yeah, I know that. Fuck me. Okay.
Bren, you said its heart was more exposed, like it could be seen.
Correct.
Kura, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I really do. Would you like me to take over?
No.
I don't
Please.
believe that it needs to endure any more torture. But if you would like me to step away, I will.
I have other things I can do.
So I will nod my head, make sure that the cap on the water skin is tight,
You got that steady?
and climb down, and I will head back towards the rope bridge.
Okay.
Regain,
Yes.
your weapon,
Yes.
now that it is enhanced, should be able to help in what she's doing. Before, when it was merely a metal weapon, it would probably not do much to it, being of the heavens. But now, you might have a chance.
Scoot back towards the doctor. And you said infernal is I scoot back towards you, and in infernal, I whisper, right? I'm not quite sure if Curl wants help right now.
In infernal back, I'll say, perhaps maybe she didn't want help from Salem with the poison. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the intricacies of what makes these people tick. Present company excluded.
I squint my eyes at the doctor, raise my eyebrows, and just kind of watch as Salem walks over.
Just for my own edification, it's not so high up that we can't reach it. Graham?
It's it's fairly high
Okay.
from your glance, but
I was
the
able to touch him.
the mineral itself just seems to be remarkably strong.
I, wordlessly, after the doctor says this, go to the stalagmite that is nearest the heart.
Okay.
And proceed to climb up it. Wrap my legs around it, and then, best as I can, take my glaive and stab it in the heart to try to give it a quick death. Better than what we've been.
That's what I'd been trying to do.
Oh,
but
I got that. I understood that. But this is like an actual. You get. I'm trying to actually just.
yeah.
Give me a roll. Give me an attack.
I'm gonna use it for game dice. Fuck me. All right. That's a 13 to hit.
A 13.
Yeah.
I'm moving around.
You
And I'm assuming I have no advantage or anything, do I?
not for this. You bring the glaive down, and you feel it stick between ribs. And as you press forward, there's a soft cracking sound. Through your strength and efforts, the heart itself.
I'm going to action surge.
All right.
That would be a 22.
22. You arc that just correctly, and you feel and hear the snap of bone. And this great creature lurches forward and up,
I mean,
almost shunting itself away from the rocks.
If its eyes come near me, I meet its gaze with
I'm gonna say you're just a little too far away to directly
Okay.
for its size.
It was going to be the most sentimentality that Bergan is able to muster in these past 4 years for another creature.
Wow. It lurches forward. Its body is exposed and pressed out and forward. There's a gaping hole in its chest.
I rolled max, so 14 damage.
As you say, the splash of blood hits your direction. As its back is arched, and these last seemingly moments of its existence are presented before all of you. Who wants to make the move?
I will. Take my longbow and aim at its heart. So
7.
huh?
I'm sorry, what was the number?
It's actually a 16. I'm not sure if that does it.
16.
Or
Doc, do you want in on this?
No, I'm scribbling notes
All right.
immensely. Like,
did I still have advantage because of it being pinned and prone and all that?
it is, but if you're using your bow, then it would not be.
Okay.
But given that number, you stand over this form after Brigand just pry it open, and you bring an arrow straight down, and there's a lurching sound and a rumbling underneath your feet. And there's almost a geyser of this dark ichor blood that coats you. And it just seems to spray further and further out as this figure lurches and moves back and arches and almost attempts to fight against its pinning down from the earth.
If I'm technically on top of it, does she get a flanking advantage?
You know what? Sure.
That's a
Fucking
22.
thing. Yeah, just put this fucking thing out of its misery. Jesus Christ.
All right. So,
22.
given that you've made your decision in this situation, gouts of blood drench Kura and Brienne, and they pour wildly and drench you as this figure lurches back in this spray. And within a moment, this figure dissipates. It's almost in a flash. It disappears. I need the both of you to roll dexterity check.
Check or a save?
A save.
5.
Out of that. You said Dex.
Dex.
This page opens. Oh boy. Oh shit. Not bad.
3-point superhero landing.
17 for a total of 18 for Dex.
All right. Cora?
Got a 5.
A 5. You are suddenly pelted in the face. Almost like a waterfall, almost a geyser, striking you in the face with that force of liquid pressure, and you topple and fall and roll. Brigade, you maintain.
Never
Take
skipped
your
leg day.
stance.
My legs
As
are just
there
squeezed around this
You
stalactite. Just-
maintain. You hold on. As there's just this wave of energy, and it sounds like a trumpet bellowing into the night. There's the sound of a horn just echoing, presumably miles away from here.
It's not 3 blares of the horn, is it?
You spot at least 2 of them.
Oh god. Okay, we were close.
But the figure you've been standing on and using as a base and using as hold is gone.
I kind of like Quasimodo went my way down for like the Hunchback of Notre Dame Disney movie where I just like slide around this thing and come down with that check.
All of you. Cora, your last moments in looking at this form, it matches your eyes, and you almost feel weightless for a moment. Then you feel a sense of burning on your left arm. There is a very new and peculiar symbol that seems to be etched or tattooed or branded into your arm.
What does it look like?
You don't recognize it, other than it seems to be a series of straight lines and periodically circles.
Does it look like writing or just...
It definitely looks like writing. It definitely says
Celestial.
something, but you were not aware of what.
And it's in Celestial. It's written in musical notes.
Well, as touching as that was, and as tense moment as that was, we should probably go as quickly as we can out of here, because
The sense of safety that you once had is no longer there.
And I would not recommend,
by a long shot.
I would not recommend we go to the town, but I also recommend we get out of here before the townsfolk, who are probably notified by those trumpet blasts that they're going to be on their way. So
we're looking for the poisoner anyway. He said he would find us as soon as we finish. He looks at Brigade looks at Kura. He goes, when we finished what we were doing here, and he looks solemn.
All right. First of all, I need everyone to give me a perception check.
Perception.
13.
15.
13.
14.
We're in an avalanche.
23.
23. All right, Salem.
What can I say? I get either +6 up between +6 to +9 on this. So
Fair enough. the figure that everyone's focus has been on, you recognize suddenly disappears. But what you do spot is a bright white feather.
Just kind of falling down.
Sort of drops next to your direction.
And just catch it out of the air.
All right.
Stuff it in my jacket pocket.
As you do. Everyone
And head
else,
up.
are we making your way out?
Most definitely.
Well,
Yes.
who got the vial for the poisoner, so we can move? That was the objective.
I think the
Salem
whole water
did.
skin.
Salem's the one that gathered the liquid.
Now, we could keep that, and I can give him this because I took several samples in small vials. He didn't say how much we'd give him, just a vial of it. So we can just give him this small amount and keep that amount for concoctions later.
If you have any additional vials, Doctor, they seem covered in plenty as well.
That's true. So I say we keep the water skin for now, and we'll give him some of these.
This is being said by myself as I am just heading up.
Doctors.
We're gone. Not running, not like sprinting or anything, just marching, getting out.
Doctor's hustling.
Oh,
More
okay.
than you've
Bye.
seen him. Come,
right.
let's go.
What is everyone else doing currently?
Getting out.
I put my hand on Kura and just kind of give her a nod in solidarity as we walk out.
I nod back.
I do that very Kratos thing of like starts to, but then doesn't, and just follows behind, and then follows behind.
All
And
right.
I am just crying the entire time, but it's this whole silent thing because I know we need to GTFO. So
Rightfully so. As you're attempting to keep face, the burn of this new symbol it's through. But
just keeps burning.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm gonna say keeps burning in on your several steps out and away from the situation. It gets a bit blurry for you.
When you say blurry, do you mean she can't see the tattoo, or visibly she's like about to collapse?
Her eyesight.
The eyesight.
Okay, because I'm behind. Because I said I was behind her.
Mm-hmm.
They just haven't moved on the map yet. But I'm behind. I'm following behind Kura.
There's a couple of swayed and staggered steps in front of you, Brigade.
I swoop her up.
I don't fight it.
All right. As all of you, I believe, all of you are making your way through the rope bridges, back and forth and up to the surface. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Back to map 2.
Back to map 2.
All right. I've grown comfortable with knowing that I'm going to carry a few people.
They're definitely in your appreciation there. As you make your way,
Mm-hmm.
the air seems thicker than when you went in. The warmth on those early treks down is not there.
Let's hustle. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm relying on Brigade for that. So.
No, totally. It would totally just be, yeah, go.
as you collect and move forward, it's almost that choke of the mist when you were not in this town and not in this area. And you start to hear a panic to the south of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's probably bad. Or they could be being attacked by monsters.
Well, we were going to. This is the most. If you say this out loud, this is the most like pirate-ish thing that Brigade could possibly say.
Go on.
We were. It's like, well, we were doing a job for someone else, so we weren't going to stay anyway.
That is true.
The doctor will look over at Bronlin. Acceptable losses in Infernal. And then hustle.
There's still some buckets of blood for them anyway.
We're going back to help them now, right?
As you make your sprint away from the crevice, you are hearing the sudden screams in concern and loud shouts from the town proper, from Starfall.
None of this surprises me.
Make my way out of the crevasse.
Now, you can make a hard line to the east and make it back those woods and an easy trek to the farm and the poisoner.
I would go. Since I'm carrying Kura, I would go to the poisoner. That's
All
the
right.
way. That's the way that I'm going.
Am I out?
Not out, but you're definitely
Woozy.
you need to place a vote into where you're intending to be.
If you tell Brigade to put you down, he'll put you down.
I'm not feeling that, but I will say help them.
I'm with her. We should definitely go and help. The poisoner will be there. The town may not.
Norway may we. This was the outcome that was most predicted.
We did this, though.
We did this.
You did?
Yes.
We can't stay and
that-
protect this
that-
town.
That's
We have 2 votes for yes to go back to the town.
The most you'll get from Brigade is he will get to the edge of where he can see within the town, and if he sees any of the things that kicked our asses,
you definitely see the things that kicked your asses when you landed.
it's just a
here.
bunch of ghasts and frogs.
There are ghasts that just seem to be swarming the area.
We cannot help them. I am sorry, but we cannot help them. Not as we are. If there's anyone near where Brigade is, close in any proximity that he thinks he could get to and get back out without drawing the attention of anything, he will attempt it. He'll save someone. But he knows he can't save everyone.
Give me a strength save or athletics.
10 total.
10?
Yeah, 10 total.
You reach out and clutch the small tiefling child that you spotted earlier.
Don't give it a name.
No, they have a name and it's Timmy.
Don't give it a name.
Late.
Well, Timmy's dead now.
I'm going to pull out just a nub. Watch.
You're able to clutch the child in your arms.
I take them and I run.
You're heading east towards the.
I'm heading east. I've got my bag of turnips.
You're kidnapping,
I'm not kidnapping anyone.
You literally kidnapped a kid.
I'm saying.
What is everyone else doing?
I've actually not stopped to even look at the village. Just made a beeline towards the farm.
You went just directly east. You just
absolutely. I knew exactly what was happening. Does not matter to me.
All right, Kura, I believe you were already carried to begin with.
Yes. I've got literally, I've got two of them. Basically, I put a small child on top of Kura.
All right.
I'll help hang on to the child, but I heard what he said about not being able to help, and I don't say anything.
Okay.
But there's still tears.
I hope to I could.
I believe so. Bronlin, what are you doing?
I'm sprinting after Timmy and my friends now, and I'm thinking in my mind, how are we going to take care of Timmy? Because we are now their collective parents.
Why is that okay?
Because the whole town is going to die.
There is definitely the sound of chaos.
Welcome to the mists.
Echoing in this town. There's the sound of screaming and a fear that has not been familiar to these people.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor, being the last one.
What are you doing, Doctor?
As they've run off, he continues to stand there and watch the chaos for a good few seconds more. And as he looks on, his face just kind of contorts into this, like, it looks like sympathy, but it also looks like just absolute hatred. And he sighs right before he turns and says, "There are no heroes in Ravenloft."
The party guns it as a collective to the east, and then towards the farm, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm going.
Everyone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. As quickly as you thought you made the return back, a full sprint has made it all the quicker. As 20-25 minutes, you've made your way back to the farm. Back to Aldanar's turnip farm. And when you sprint there, you see the old farmer and the poisoner playing some sort of card game on a rudimentary table right in front of the poisoner's caravan.
Sorry for hitting my mic.
Doctor, yours or mine?
Fine. And I'll flip it out and hold it out to Salem.
I'll take it. And I walk up to the table that they're playing. Well, the job is done. And I have the vial in my hand, extended towards the poisoner.
The sounds of chaos are not too far behind you. As
Does
the
not. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say.
go ahead.
Does not matter. It for me. This was a known outcome, and guilt is just another weight to add when you have to live in a world where you need to travel light. And as I'm holding out the vial towards the poisoner, well, someone had to have the losing hand.
The poisoner glances your direction, sets the cards down, and glances over towards Kura. Just for a bit too long. And then back to Salem. Well, it appears our contract is complete. Long, thin fingers clutch the flask you had filled. Holds up before its face. All right. A deal is a deal. You see this again. These extended fingers fish around in this cloak and pull out two what appear to be simple carved figures, clutched between fingers. One appears to be a mushroom or a cluster of fungus. The other seems to be a large, or excuse me, a relatively hunched humanoid figure. As this hand extends out towards the group with these two carved figures and reaches out towards a lot of you.
Since I'm the one closest towards them, I'll pluck them from his grasp.
Based upon its hold.
Oh, it's just me showing it off. Okay.
You
You
are no, not to worry. You're choosing one or the other.
Gotcha.
Can I make an insight
Please do.
just to see which
What
one?
leads to what? What's the difference?
Oh, hey, that's a 22.
Nice.
Nat 19.
As Brian stares at the two figurines clasped between the fingers, the poisoner sort of makes a long drawn eye contact again. All right.
And I'm holding like a child and a grown woman.
You are holding a child and a grown woman currently.
And I'm very much giving that look of like, don't fuck with me right now. I could still get to you.
Fair enough. Are you ready to acknowledge your insignificance? or you're clinging to life. The clinging to life, he slightly wiggles the fungus-looking carving, and insignificance seems to be more the humanoid lurched figure.
Sick of these subtleties. What does that mean?
With my insight, can I determine which one he wants us to take more for his own amusement, or which one that he perhaps?
I'm gonna say with your insight, you don't see any sort of pleasure coming from this figure
in either case.
In either of its offerings. These seem genuine. They seem, as far as figure is explanatory, there doesn't seem to be any joy in offering to you.
Enough of these subtleties. What do they mean? What does one take us to one place and one takes us to another place?
I believe so.
The poisoner leans over to you, Doctor, but lashes out an arm towards Kira and hoist up the arm that has the symbols now marked into. You've lost your time in this domain. Draws a finger, sort of following the markings on Kira's arm.
I did jerk my arm away.
Admirable as that is, it's time to go. Now pick.
I believe we need to preserve our time rather than see how insignificant we are.
The area around you begins to feel colder. You can almost feel, as well as see, the mist sort of closing in around you.
Which one do you want to take?
I'd actually prefer the insignificant one.
Of course you would.
My vote is the mushrooms.
The figure.
Figure it is. And I pluck the punched figure from his hand.
I hold the child and I say, hold on to me tightly.
As you've all made your decision, Salem, the long hand sort of worms and sways and works its way to the flask that you've acquired and clutches it. And as all of you are grouped close and have made your decision, you see the frantic look of the turnip farmer, old Danar, watching all of you, and then suddenly away from. There's a lurching sound as the caravan hits the ground and sort of sways, somewhat surrounding all of you. And the moment light catches your eye, at the moment you're able to focus, everything, that first breath in is difficult. You don't know if it's humidity, if it's something in the air. There's a wet hack after that first breathe in.
Is this Ravenloft?
It is very bright on your eyes, and it's hard to focus in these first few moments. And I do believe that's where we're going to stop for the evening.
Cool.
Parents now, y'all.
You are parents now, y'all.
I don't hate you at all. So
I'm absolutely the
Glad to
deadbeat
hear.
uncle.
nothing here, nothing here really
No?
affected Brigane. As soon as he realized one thing equals another, he knew either he was going to save no one or he was going to save someone. That's the extent of his thought process.
Well, now that was a
that
thing.
That was a ride.
That we're in the actual mist now where it's
you
terrible.
you are in the mist proper now.
We're in the
Yeah.
actual terrible stuff. We're in the shit now, son.
We just passed through the membrane of the bubble of the realms of the domains of dread. I
I
don't know if we'll give spoilers here. You killed your first lord.
Oh, goody.
When you say lord, do you mean like a lord of a domain of dread, or what
That
do
is
you-
exactly what I mean.
Oh, do we level up?
You know what? Yes.
Getting them down to brass ticket tax here.
I'm gonna say you are level 3. You killed your
Level
first. You killed your first
Take that.
lord.
We released our first lord.
You released. You killed.
Well,
You tortured, really.
That was up to you.
But anyway, let's sign off.
Yes,
Yeah.
let us sign off.
Do we have a
Yes.
giveaway winner or anything?
I believe we have a giveaway winner.
Oh,
No, we don't.
Oh.
I believe we do.
Do we have a name for this winner then?
I don't
I
think
haven't
anyone
seen
entered, y'all.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any entries.
Someone quick, if you want to win an awesome, epic character generator, type epic into the chat right now. The first person to do it wins.
It
An
is
exclamation
quite
point.
epic. We've got to play with it. I think all of us.
Everybody hit somebody.
But we do have some other announcements.
I'm
Yes.
positive that other announcements.
yes. All right. Well,
The ones with Matt leading, I believe.
well, I was looking at the DM one, but yes. Quick reminders. Don't forget to subscribe to the Games Tavern YouTube channel right now. Subscribing is free, and you don't miss any of the action or access to additional content. Type exclamation YouTube in the chat for the link. Your likes and positive comments on the videos help other adventurers find out about the shows. And you'll be able to see this episode, usually like 24 to 48 hours, I believe, is when they get them up there. But, check it out because it definitely helps us. Spread the link around. If nothing else, just throw the link out.
And normally we would have the announcement for who won our giveaway tonight. Doesn't mean that you've missed out on anything, because I'm sure we're gonna have more of this next time. So
You know it.
make sure next time just type in the exclamation point epic into chat so you can enter to win that prize from Overhead Games, or for Overhead Games. And we will announce, as always, who the winner was at the very end of the show.
And in the meantime, go visit overheadgames.com. Check out the character generator. If you're unsure it was something you wanted to enter for, go check it out there, and then you can decide.
Now it's time for us to do our outro. So, hey, y'all, I'm Jess. I'm Jess the Human. That's JESTHEHUMAN. That's on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. You can typically find me playing Dead by Daylight with Daryl, Matt, or Kyle on my Twitch. So check me out.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna-
didn't stick.
And I'm going to popcorn over to Kyle.
Hi, I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Kyle K. And I am occasionally, streaming here with these lovely folk, or joining Jess or a couple other people. I don't have my own stream just yet, but I'll let you all know when I kick that up. I'm gonna popcorn to Laura.
I'm Laura Perard, playing Kura. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Laura Perard. That's both my names squished together. You can find me on Instagram, Laura_Perard. And you can find me hanging around the Games Tavern Discord. Popcorn over to Matt.
I'm Matt Fellman. You can find me on all the socials and Twitch, I believe, is all Matt Fellman. Should be, if it's down in the doobly-doo. Matt at Matt, M-A-T-T, F as in Frank, E-H-L-M-A-N. And popcorn to Daryl.
Hello, I'm Daryl Dorsey. I play Brigade Stonebelt. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr_Daryl Dorsey. That's DARRYLDORSEY. I'm going to put it in chat, as well as on Twitch at Daryl Sucks at Gaming. That's SUX at Gaming. Again, I will put it in Twitch. Chat. That's the place you can find my gigantic forehead, my shoulders, and biceps. Anyway,
God, where's the rest of your
Wait,
body?
where's the forehead in this? I see
Where's my
gigantic
forehead?
shoulder. I see gigantic shoulders and forceps. No.
Forceps.
He brings out the gun show.
I am all shoulders and forehead.
That's a humility post there.
That's all shoulders and foreheads. And all my shirts are just very tight on purpose. This is a 2X. Anyway, that's where you can find me.
And take us home, Bran.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Show us your guns.
Oh my God, they're weakened.
Not yours. I wanted to see Brand.
They're weakened. It's been a horrible couple weeks. I am Brand. You can find me at Voice of Brand. That sounds reasonable. Over on Twitter. My God, I've been silent for a very long time, but rest assured I will be somewhat of a personality once again. But there we go. Who's next? Who's next on the popcorn?
I think that's
That's
it.
That's everybody.
Was that really it?
Oh,
That was
wait,
everybody.
we gotta mention
I
our
don't-
You
awesome
gotta shout out
staff.
Noah.
Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
shout out Noah.
Noah.
Noah, our
Tech
our-
Elemental.
Tech.
Not Goblin.
Yes.
Elemental.
Never Goblin. The
Tech
Tech
Elemental.
Elemental.
The Goblin Slayer. The
Do y'all
Goblin
have the
Slayer.
stream pulled up? He put hello.
Yep.
We
he's
love to
the-
see it.
Why would we put Brand Cam on there? That is a dreadful thing we could do first.
It happened. We saw you full force.
Oh my God. I'm only like 65% a person so far.
Hey man, you
Can we-
still got a hairline.
I didn't.
Not for long.
Got to thank all the people for sticking around as long as they did. This episode
Yes.
ran a
Oh, it's
little
been
bit
absolutely
longer than usual.
blessed.
It did.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us.
Thank you all.
Your
We
troopers.
will
And we love
see
Um,
y'all next Tuesday.
Thank you for enjoying watching me
Yes.
torture these lovely people.
I felt
It's only gonna get worse.
Perfect.
that's what I want.
Great.
That's what I want. I want someone to cry.
Oh,
You got it.
I know.
The first time tonight.
I know.
It's only gonna get worse, and I adore all of you, and I am so sorry.
Ah.
But
No,
it's
you're
only
not.
gonna get worse.
I knew what I signed up for when I entered the mist. So
Alrighty. Good night, y'all.
Good night,
See you
everyone.
next
Night,
Tuesday,
Thank you so
7
much
p.m.
for this.
Pacific Standard Time. Bye.
See you next
Bye.
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.